First of all, I would like you to introduce to our friends of Video Music, to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Marie.
And I'm Per, of course.
And we are, of course, Roxette.
And let's start from the beginning. How did you meet each other and how did your career started?
Well, we met on the west coast of Sweden back in 1978, I think. Marie claims that we met in a rehearsal studio, but I don't remember that, but she says so. So she's probably right. She's always right. We've had separate careers in Sweden for a long time. So we've been in the music industry since 1979 and Marie since 81, 82. Yeah, we had loads of success in Sweden before Roxette happened.
Yeah?
But the difference was that before Roxette we only sang in Swedish.
Oh, yeah?
So the reason for forming Roxette in 1986 was that we wanted to get abroad, try to get an international career.
What were you doing before getting into music business?
Well, yeah, we had different jobs. I mean, I studied music for 2 years, and then in the beginning I wanted to be a voice teacher, but I think it was too boring. I'm a performer, I want to be on stage. But before I get a record deal, I was working in a hospital, I worked as a music teacher, I worked with children, I've done many different things. And you two?
Yeah, I worked stupid jobs, you know, like I worked in a factory where they sort of growed mushrooms and, you know, they made tin cans with mushrooms. And I was also sort of a troubadour at hospitals playing for old people, you know, singing old Swedish folk songs. And getting false teeth thrown at me. No. But my intention was never to be involved with like the music industry. I wanted to be an interior decorator when I was in school.
Oh, yeah?
I always been interested in design and stuff like that. So it's basically I was like a pop fan. I collected records since I was 6, 7, 8 years old. I have a huge record collection, and I started writing lyrics when I was 13, and I didn't really start to play an instrument until I was 17, which is quite late. So just basically around the new wave era, you know, like 76, 77, when everything was allowed, you know. You could play, even if you weren't very good, you could play, you know. And that was really encouraging for me, because I'm a terrible musician still.
And was it hard to break through in Sweden music business in the beginning?
Can you?
No, was it hard to have success in the beginning in Sweden?
Well, no. I mean, it's the beginning. I mean, it's such a small country, and when you have success there, then you can really do good tours and very supportive. If you got an audience there. And but when we had a success with Roxette, in the beginning, the people at home were a little bit suspicious because that we started to sing in English, you know, that we didn't sing in Swedish anymore. And so in the beginning they didn't like it in the beginning. But now they're very, very proud of us, and so now it's great.
Describe your new LP, Joyride.
Well, it's really a hard album to describe. No, it's the third album we do, so I think it's the best album because it takes a couple of albums to know exactly which direction you want to go in. And for us, this happened with the third album. You know, when we started recording, we knew exactly where we were supposed to head. You know, we wanted to make an album that was quite easy to perform live with, and we wanted to make a positive album. Roxette has always stood for something positive. And that's what we did. We recorded 18 tracks, and 15 of them are on the CD, and it's by far the best thing we've ever done, I think.
From where did you get the title, Joyride? What's the meaning of that?
The title is the band that Per was in before. We started Roxette, and they were 5 guys who had lots of success at home in Sweden. They were singing in Swedish. The last album they tried to do an English album. So the guys call the band Roxette, but it didn't work out so good with that album, and then they split up, and then we get together and we said, hey, you have to try it, like I was saying before, we could have a career worldwide, and we said, why not take Roxette? It's a great name, and this name comes from Dr. Feelgood's song.
Oh yeah.
It was their first single. It was called Roxette, and it's a girl's name. It's a nice name. The problem with the name sometimes is that people think that my name
you
is
are
Roxette. Yeah. But so maybe we should
Be
have
the Roxette.
Roxettes.
How do you explain this main success in USA that you had?
Oh, I don't know. It's hard to tell why it happened. For us, it didn't happen through a record company or anything. It happened through a radio station that picked up the song from one of the listeners and sort of started playing the song, and people really liked the look, the song, and it happened. Radio people tells us that the timing for that song was perfect. The radio in America at the time wanted a song that was dance but still guitars, not too much rap and house music, and not too much Guns N' Roses. They want something in between, and the look was perfect. It's like today. Now when we released Joyride, the single, it seems to have the same thing, because the radio in America there's so many ballads out right now, and there's so many house records, but nobody's actually doing what we're doing and getting the charts with it. So it's as soon as when Joyride happened in the States, it happened like this. It's number 30 now in 3 weeks, which is like our fastest single ever, and it's really a thing. The timing is always crucial, and you can never tell the timing until it's done. You can never plan to time it right. It just happens.
The difference between this album and the previous ones?
Self-confidence, I think, from all the success. It was really relaxed to record it, and even though there was a lot of pressure, of course. Look Sharper sold almost 6 million copies worldwide, and and we don't even think about doing the same thing with Joyride. We would love to do it, of course, but we would be happy if we sell 2 million. It's a lot of records, 2 million sold records too. So it's basically, we said, let's do it, and don't think about success. Do the best album possible. So.
How do you share your work inside the group? Who's taking care of the lyrics and the music? How do you work together?
Well, it depends in which phase of the recording we are. Basically, on the Joyride album, I wrote most, like 90%, I guess, of the material. But that doesn't really mean that I'm saying this is what we're going to record. We always have a dialogue of what we should do, and most of the songs are sort of custom written for Marie to sing, because she sings like 6 out of 10 songs or whatever. So it's when it comes to the studio, we work with Clarence Overman, our producer, who's also our keyboard player, and then it suddenly becomes really concentrated teamwork. Marie's putting a lot of effort into arranging vocals and stuff like that, which is, we always go for vocals. And I'm more into getting the hooks there, the whistling, and Joyride and stuff like that. Clarence is like a beautiful arranger. He knows exactly how you should do it technically, and stuff like that. So we work really hard, all of us.
From what do you get the inspiration for lyrics?
It could be anything. Sometimes you write from yourself. Sometimes you write from something you see in a movie. The Joyride song, for instance, the idea for Joyride came from an interview with Paul McCartney, who said writing songs with John Lennon was a long joyride.
Oh yeah.
I said, oh, that's a beautiful word, so it has to be a song. So you pick up things here and there, and Listen to Your Heart on the Look Sharp album was written about a friend of ours who went through a very heavy, tough divorce, and it's basically subjects that people in general can identify with, and in the end, I think it's even when it's sad or when it's really emotional, it's still positive in the end. It Must Have Been Love. It's a really sad story, but people identifies with it and can get comfort hearing it. You know, I heard so many people requesting that song on radio because they're just broken up a relationship, whatever, which is...
That's very common.
Oh yeah, it is, and people identify with it because it's they see themselves in the song. And that's how I've been listening to music all my life. You know, I always identify with certain tracks. You know,
We're very young.
Well, I think the music from the 60s is, I mean, the Beatles, of course, and Bowie, and T-Rex, Motor Hoople. I like Joni Mitchell, Dickie Jones, Leonard Cohen, you know, there's so much good music from the 60s and the 70s.
And how about the contemporary scene? What do you like the most now?
Oh.
Diviners.
you know, the Divine. Tom Petty is
Tom
great.
Petty.
We're big U2 fans. We're waiting for the new U2 album to come out. In general, what's common for both of us is that we always go for melodies. We always go for strong melodies and strong music, and we're not really that keen on like house music and rap music. But it's probably a generation thing, you know. We're raised on 60s and 70s music, so for us, it feels like house music is more like it's a drum machine and then someone is talking to it.
What do you think is the worst part of success? The thing that really...
I think it's you don't have any privacy anymore. I mean, it's very seldom that you have time for yourself and just can be together with your friends and families. And because we travel all the time, and so I think that's the worst thing. I really sometimes really miss my old friends, and I miss Stockholm a lot because I'm based in Stockholm, and I think that's the only part that's negative. But then, I mean, then you get so much. I think it's worth it anyway because you get so much from all the success. It's so fantastic feeling to, I mean, people in Chile or people here or people in Australia that listen to our songs and love our music. And when you think of that, that's something so fantastic. I mean, it's a dream come true. And now we're going on a world tour, and we have always dreamed about to tour all over. So I mean, it's worth it. So you can live with that. I mean, the negative things.
And what are your plans about touring?
We are starting a world tour this summer. We start out in America, Canada, and we come here to Europe in September, October. We start in America in June, and then I think we're going to be on the road for 1.5 years or something like that.
Do you plan to come to Italy also?
Yeah, we hope so.
We haven't made the plans for it. We're doing Europe, September, October, November, and so I guess Italy's in there. I haven't seen the plans yet, but